Welcome everyone to PCP Destructive Criticism.
Destructive, is that what we're
That
doing?
we're going to call
Is
this
that what we're
one.
calling?
Yeah, that's what we're calling this. Just whenever there's someone who is a PCP viewer or any other correspondent of any of us, or potentially even one of us, who has made a thing that isn't a video, especially a video game that can be played, right? This is a series now, even though this is just an impromptu idea we just had.
Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Hypothetically, it may happen again in the future, so we have to make it a series now. We got to capitalize on the future potential, right?
Yeah.
So this is Nemesis.
Yeah, we're playing Nemesis, a game by, what's his name?
I don't remember. Well, I think on social media he's just called Nemesis Admin, so we'll just call him Nemesis Admin.
Well, this game it's on Newgrounds, but it's also at www.nemesis-game.com.
You're right. So he sent a message to Digi saying, yo, I've been listening to the PCP.
Of course he messaged Digi.
And...
What a fucking pleb.
And...
a pleb tier PCP viewer.
And he said that, listening to your show gave me the motivation to finish it, or to really finish working on this project, to not be one of those average suck boys who just sits around and doesn't actually do the work to make the shit happen, right?
And that's fair. Actually, this third weapon. Okay, I won't get into specifics.
Right.
Now. We can talk.
So
about
right now we're playing it, or Ben is playing, and I'm just here next to the microphone, and we're too lazy to actually record the video.
Yeah,
this is mostly for the guy who made the game. If you want to experience the game while we talk, you can just go play it.
Go visit the website if you would.
We figure the guy who made the game knows the game well enough that he can just fill in the blanks.
He'll know what we're talking about.
Because the reason why I wanted to give this guy direct feedback or open letter feedback is because it's professionally presented enough, and the guy seems professionally in his dialogue.
Seems like he's pretty serious about it.
Yeah,
which
he
is cool,
both wants and will be accepting to just people talking about it and giving notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fucking how do I begin? Okay, so this game is very similar to a Vlambeer game. Right.
It is a Vlambeer.
Now the designer himself said yes, this is basically Luftrausers.
Did
right?
he?
Yeah, that's what he said to Digi.
Okay, I was annoyed because in his messages he didn't the ones that I saw you quoting, he didn't say anything about Luftrausers, and I was like, well, this is just Luftrausers.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, whatever.
Right.
Gotta start somewhere.
Right. Yeah, I would totally advise that if you're making games, just rip one off completely.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
If you're gonna make a guitar song, you gotta play someone else's song 5,000 times so you can get an idea of how it works,
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah. And if it's a game thrown up for free, then you're essentially ripping off Vlambeer, so that's, two birds, one stone, right?
Yeah.
So for someone who hasn't played Luftrausers, I immediately jump in and I'm like, this is fucking impossible.
Yeah.
All these enemies.
Of course it's impossible. It's a game where you just go until you die. So you always die.
Right.
It's just a question of how long.
That's the tricky point for me, is that I'm not into games like that, just sort of fundamentally. So basically there's two goals for me, which is talk about what the game is like from the perspective of someone like me, and then talk about try to kind of hone in on what I think the dev is going for. I don't fucking know. Just consider me a super annoying demographic and just know what I think, right?
Yeah, just completely not the target audience for this game.
Not completely not. I don't hate these kinds of games. I just don't get that into them, right? I'm not. You are much more the target demographic for this game than am I.
I never went crazy for Luftrausers or anything. I didn't buy the final version, but yeah, it is the sort of game that I'm generally into.
The fact that you didn't immediately.
Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my god!
We just got to a giant.
A new fucking thing has appeared.
We just got to a giant flail.
Okay,
we didn't see that before. Man, it's just getting intense now.
Now I have, like I said, I have not really played Luftrausers. I don't know if this thing is just taken from Luftrausers or not. What this is like?
They keep fading in and out too. That's weird.
This is an interesting enemy. I'm sure it's taken from something. This is too out of nowhere.
It's too much like Luftrausers.
Well, I don't know. See, I didn't see anything like that in Luftrausers, but I'm sure.
Just like that one time where the main character in One Piece was picking out pants. That was Luftrausers.
Oh yeah. Gotcha,
so,
bro.
So the fact that you didn't immediately gawk at the how weak your weapon was, like I did.
I did.
This is too fucking.
No, I did. That was
really?
my first thing. The first plane has a main weapon that is like completely worthless.
But
I don't know. Maybe that's intentional. Probably not.
Well, what the dev said was that like, well, this is one of those games where you got like 15 minutes to get in and get out because it's on new grounds. You're gonna lose interest immediately.
That doesn't make it. Davoo, that doesn't make any sense. That has nothing to do with whether the main weapon is too weak or
right. Like what I thought was like, well, he was saying that just in relation to the difficulty in general.
Okay. But well, what I was sure. I get that. I get that it's supposed to be hard.
For me personally, I generally prefer video games where, like, the first time you dive into the mechanics, everything just sort of pre-scripted works correctly, so that you know how things are supposed to go, right? Because when I first played it, and I immediately died, I was like, wait, did I do something wrong? I wasn't sure.
That's just you not getting it.
Well, I did get it. It took me 2 extra minutes to get it, right?
Okay.
Like, again, this is different. I mean, me personally, I do have the patience if I decide to sit down with a game, right?
Sure.
But you got to also consider the giant swaths of people who will, in fact, click away after 30 seconds, right? To make that really great first impression.
Well, this game is not for that.
Okay, well, this video is not for that.
Yeah.
But if it is, then there you go, right?
Sure.
Because I don't think there'd be any harm in just like you have this starting wave of enemies that shows up that are obviously super easy and weak.
Yeah.
And then they get knocked out in one hit by your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actual challenge begins. Because
hey, quit poking me with your thing. Sorry, totally unrelated.
I wasn't fucking because I just wasn't sure what to do at first because I wasn't sure if it was gonna be one of those games where you got to get to an objective goal or if you got to shoot down a certain number of dudes. Because there's no score either, at least not on the screen, right?
Yeah.
You only see the number of enemies you killed at the end. So I just didn't know what to do, which also brings me to the fact that the screen is very barren.
It's not barren.
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, look, there's nothing on the screen right now.
Yeah, because I just started.
There's nothing happening.
But soon there will be like huge swarms of planes and bullets and shit all flying around.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Some of your criticisms seem a little weird so far.
Well, I like density. I'm part of hashtag density core.
What are you talking? Just give me like 1 minute and you will see the screen will become dense with shit.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that like. You have rounds of this game, sessions of this game that last, say, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And the first minute is going to be mostly empty, so that's 30% of the game that's mostly empty. Right? That's like an RPG with 30% empty corridors, right?
I mean, the better you get at the game, the longer you'll last, and proportionally the less time you'll spend in the boring first 30 seconds.
I guess. I don't really see what the advantage is, though, of having, like, sort of a barren first 30 seconds. Like...
Well, what would you? I mean, what's the alternative? Like
just having more interesting shit go on.
Just have it start like immediately. I guess it could get going faster, and there's probably nothing. Oh, I get hurt if I go out into space. Yeah, it would probably be fine if like it started up faster. Because like once you play it a little bit, you don't really need to fuck around with like the first. But really, it's like 30.
Damn,
it's like
you just like comboed 30 of them at once.
Well, this third plane has a really good weapon for that.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in principle I agree that it could get going, that like the faster it gets going, the better, but like, I mean, whatever. Yeah. It's really not that bad.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Now that I'm seeing how far they're able to get in, and now there's just a bunch of shit, then that's pretty reasonable, yeah. But my point is, compared to Luftrausers, that game has like more stuff going on, like immediately, or at least it's got like, it's got a smaller screen, it's got a smaller field of view.
I don't know why you're so hung up on like the barrenness of the screen. The size of the screen is an advantage. I like that better than Luftrausers. Because it just lets you just can see more and you can like play smarter.
I guess I'm not trying to propose the idea that it's bad. I just want it to be something that is considered, right? Like I want to know how much was it intentional.
I think it is a good design choice to make the screen proportionally bigger.
My point is I just want it to be something that is kept in mind because barrenness and too small a screen was like the number one pitfall that I fell into when I made an RPG, where everything was so fucking small.
Well, totally different. This is not an RPG.
I know,
this was working totally differently.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's just I just thought like, was the dev keeping that in mind when making it? That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the second weapon for the second plane.
Yeah. There's
more effective.
Hang on. Yeah, there's 3 planes. Actually, before I get into that, I want to say that I do really like the opening screen because like it's like a pilot console, and you have to hit all the buttons like that the game requires you to use, and that like unlocks the console, and then you can get started. I don't know. It's just neat. It's neat because like I don't know, you just gotta press the buttons
Yeah,
and
well,
like
and
now
figure it
now
out.
you know the buttons.
Right, yeah. For me, that was also confusing. It like gave me this first 30 seconds. Of, like, wait, how does this thing work?
It was
right?
awesome. No, it was unequivocally great, and I loved that.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm, like, if I'm going into this, if I'm going into a video game and I know for a fact I'm going to give it a really long trial period, like let's say everyone in my circle is saying it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Then something like that is great. Because I've been given the promise that extra effort's going to be worth it.
It's not
right?
extra effort to press like 4 buttons to start the game.
Well, it's just you're just not sure what the buttons are going to mean, right?
That's what the point of it is that it shows you the buttons and it's like and it like prompts you like this is what like these are the buttons and this is what they do. Now hit them in order to start the game up. And it feels like powering on a console.
Well, yeah.
I like it. I like it.
You like it.
I do.
But you see the screen you're on right now. You're on the main screen, and it's like it took me a while to realize that like those blue lights in the middle, like don't do anything. They're just denoting the different volume levels, right? And the fact that they're lined up symmetrically right next to the level selection buttons, it made me think that they were like inherently coupled somehow. And then a little bit later, I was like, oh, okay, so there we go. So like over there is basically unrelated. Those buttons over there is the volume choices, and the stuff on the right is the level options, right?
Yeah.
Once again, like, I guess I'm basically framing these like problems, but more like queries or more like statements, I guess, where like obviously leading players into confusion or like forcing them to get outside of their comfort zone to like do an old thing in a new way has a lot of value, but it should be done very consciously, and you know exactly what kind of misconstrusions and confusions you're going to put the player on, right? So you can manipulate them better. You don't necessarily want to send them into a confused tizzy like unintentionally, because then that might not be a good experience, right?
Well, I suppose not. Right. I don't think that's what's happening here.
Right. I'm just saying that like
and I guess as a general principle, I would agree with you that
right.
confusing the player is bad, and you shouldn't.
Well, I'm just saying that like just know what will cause confusion.
Okay.
Because I remember like,
i.e., nothing in this game would do that. But okay.
Well, like 10 seconds of what's this, right? Which in a game that like as he says you'd play for 15 minutes, like comprises like 5% of the whole game experience. So it is very relevant,
No, it isn't.
Yeah,
you're totally out of line. And you're totally off base.
People flip through games like in the span of minutes. It very much happens. People could like watch a Let's Play and they might click away in 2 minutes based on the experience the Let's Player has. It's a really tight market. You have to really, really work and manipulate the player to command their attention.
I guess.
Yeah. So, just. You may as well if you're gonna put lots of work.
So what would you? What? Okay, if you could change something about this game that would alleviate this issue, what would you do?
I would probably put like a little graphical separation line in between the volume options and then the level selections, and maybe I'd make them a slightly different color. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember in The Art of Game Design, the Book of Lenses. There's one part where the author talks about how he was making like an Aladdin game. Where you're riding on a flying carpet, and like there's a part where you get up into like a big chamber, and you're supposed to go straight to like a throne area in this throne room.
Yeah.
But players would always go up into that room and just wander around not knowing where to go, and so he put a fucking line on the floor that leads to the throne, and everyone will always go to the throne immediately, right?
Sure.
But then in co-op mode, they wanted to make it to where people wouldn't all go to the throne because only one person can grab the scepter. So they wanted everyone to just they wanted one person to go to the throne and everyone else to hang out, right? So they drew a line that goes to the throne and then splits off into 3 random directions. And the 3 players in co-op would always split off into random directions with those lines on the floor that none of them consciously noticed. So it's all about manipulation of the player.
Yeah.
Just stuff to keep in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so we're just talking about the opening menu. We're just talking about the menu screen right now.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
If the menus feel good, the game feels good.
That's not...
they say.
Who said that?
That guy who remixes everything that we say into weird shitpost videos.
Oh, was that Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were going to talk about the weapons. So the opening weapon of the game. See, I just feel so demoralized when I start up the game for the first minute because I feel like the weapon isn't even doing shit, right?
My first criticism of the game is that it is Lufttrousers, which I think is which I think says all I need to say. But okay, but I know that I'm seen as some sort of pariah because I believe in originality and I think that it's valuable, like I'm some kind of moron or something. But okay, so I'm just gonna leave that one. I'm just gonna leave that where it lies. My only other criticism, well, my second criticism is that the first plane has two weapons. There's like a spread fire shotgun, machine gun, although it doesn't fire that fast, and a like laser beam. Right. And they're both underpowered, but the first one is underpowered to the point like the main weapon is useless, and I never used it. Like it's unbelievably terrible. Yeah, like I did not kill anything with it.
Yeah, and then you basically I think if you just play one round with the first plane, you can then go back to the main menu and unlock the second plane and then the third plane, and they each have in turn more powerful weapons than the last.
I liked the second plane better than the first, and I like the third plane better than the second. Although the third plane is like
overpowered almost.
I think it's probably a little overpowered, and also it just feels really different. Like
it's a totally different kind of game.
The third plane does not feel like I'm not actually shooting anything. All I'm doing is leading planes behind me, and then like sort of leaving like this mine in the air that they just run into.
It's like a buzzsaw boomerang.
It is.
It's really cool.
It's pretty cool. I like it. I think it's neat.
I love fucking like games where you have a variety of weapons, each with their own totally different mechanic, right?
Yeah,
that's a good game. I like. So I like it when things get outside of the general zone of shoot on a straight vector, right?
Yeah, but it kind of makes me wonder like why this game is a game about flying a plane around and shooting, but like by far the best time I'm having with it.
Yeah,
I'm not actually shooting. Right. I feel like a game about that boomerang.
Right, would be really cool.
Would be much better. Because, like, I think if there's one thing... like, if this is an experimental game, just kind of made... Oh, fuck, I ran into a deadly thing. Okay, like, if this game is an experiment, and, like, this guy is I assume, like, a pretty new dev, and he probably is trying things out and figuring out what works. I think what really works is that boomerang, I think, is the lesson that he might want to take away from this.
Indeed.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Another like tricky thing about the game's design that misled me is that I didn't realize that if you went back to the main menu, you'd unlock more weapons, right? I didn't realize
the new planes.
You'd unlock the new planes because you have to go back to the main menu to do that. And for me personally, I would have probably just been stuck in a loop playing with the first plane.
I would have too,
over and over again if Digi hadn't mentioned it, right?
Yeah.
So my thought is,
I think it should notify you when you unlock a new plane,
which is really the reason why I felt like I was a little bit too misled by the confusion of the menu, because you have to kind of know what that menu means in order to like understand this immediately.
I think that a notification when you unlock a new plane would be pretty good.
Right. And for me, it's like, especially when you're on browser game level, notifications basically should be translated to shove something right in your fucking face. You know? Like why do you think all those mobile games always have like a mascot character on the bottom right corner of the screen that like tells you everything, just to make sure that you're not fucking missing it, right?
Yeah.
So I would say like have like in the middle of the screen, like you got a new fucking plane,
Yeah.
Especially because the game only really gets more good and interesting when you get to the third one.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about the aesthetic of the game?
Well, the aesthetic of the game is just Luft trousers, but smaller.
Because I know.
Well, I guess I will say I like the cityscape. I like the cityscape underneath. I like the parallax scrolling, and I like the sun. I like how the higher you go, like there's this red sun in the background, and it like illuminates more of the city because like it's shining on more.
The dev here clearly has a grip on how to synthesize the different multimedia elements, like he's able to put the different graphics together and they weave around in an interesting way.
I mean, I guess I would say that differently. I would say that he's just got a reasonably good sense of aesthetic design.
Yeah, just how to make the fucking, because none of the individual graphics are that impressive, right? They're really inconsistent too.
I was gonna say that it's a bit odd, like the sun.
Right.
It's odd, like the sun really calls attention to itself.
Yeah.
Like I find myself looking at the sun whenever I go up high because
I think it's fucking cool, but it
is cool, but it commands so much of my attention, even though it's irrelevant to the actual gameplay.
Well, the thing
I don't hate it, but I think it's odd.
Every element of the graphics, they all look like a different art style.
Yeah.
Like the sun itself is like a perfectly circular, like it's probably not even like a graphic, it's probably just like in whatever language this is programmed in, like they probably just used like straight up the program to make a circle. That's what it looks like to me.
Could be
because it's so like anti-aliased, and like the graphics of the weapons and the enemies and they all look like Luft browsers. then the cityscape looks sort of MS Paint like. It
yeah.
looks a little sloppy and like unprofessional. It looks cool, but it doesn't look like it was made by an artist, if you know what I mean, right? It doesn't.
I guess I would say that it's. Well, you know what I don't like about it? I don't like how it just cuts to black underneath.
Well, that's the
top. I know. Like the tops. Okay, well, here's what I don't like. The tops of the buildings, they feel. Yeah, the perspective feels off because like the tops of the buildings are tilted down as though you're looking at them from slightly above, and yet the water line is a perfect horizontal line, implying that you are looking at it exactly from sideways.
And I think
so. I feel like that doesn't quite work.
Yeah, and I think that the battleships in particular have like a lot of precise detail on them, like the way that they're lit up, which I don't know if you're able to have being able to pay attention to even notice. But like, see those ships, how much cool little details are on them?
The little like lights on the side.
They kind of look like they were drawn by a different person, but probably just that the methodology he went into drawing them was very different. Where like he probably modeled the ships after photos of ships, and he probably just drew some fucking buildings to make it look like buildings, right?
Yeah.
I assume he probably wasn't looking at a cityscape when he drew it.
Who knows?
Well, that's just what it comes off like, right? It just feels like a different art style. And then particularly the clouds look like cartoony with like a thick black outline. So each element has a different art style, basically. Mm-hmm. Which again, if you want to go for art style fusion, again, not good, not bad, not great, not terrible, not mediocre, just not a value judgment, just a point, right?
Yeah.
To keep in mind the different cohesion, the different art styles, how they can work off of one another.
You know what? I hate the second plane. It's stupid.
It's stupid.
It's special. It's got a machine gun, and its special ability is that you can like
spin it around,
you can instantly reverse direction, and if you do that, you die. So it's just a kill me button. Because you always have like a horde of planes flying behind you. I don't know. Maybe there's some tricky strategy to use with it. I thought that maybe it would be good for like flying down into ships, because it's really hard to kill the ships. Like the ships are like positioned in a way that it's just not natural to shoot them. I thought maybe that like this would be a good plane for killing. Okay, that kind of worked, but then I got hit and almost died. I kind of thought that maybe you could like swoop down at them firing, and then like before colliding with the ground, you can like immediately reverse your direction and fly back up into the.
Oh, you go. You
that
kill the ship.
That actually worked. Okay, I'm gonna keep trying this. It's still really awkward, and I feel like I'm gonna die every time I do it. But okay, maybe I've hit on something here. Oh man, didn't do it that time. Okay, I'm gonna try again. I'm going back. Fuck.
Oh, well, you got it.
Yeah, I got the ship, but I died because reversing direction just puts you right in the path of death.
So my point is, I think this guy's he's definitely got all the baseline talent to make a really good game.
I don't agree with that. He's got the baseline talent to copy a really good game.
I don't know. Like, look
got
at
him.
Skull. Look at that fucking skull. That's cool.
That's exactly from Loof Trousers.
Wait, what?
Loof Trousers does that exact thing. When you die, it puts a skull on the screen.
What?
Yeah, that's...
I
told you this game is Loof Trousers. That's basically all you need to say. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Dev, but you know it's true. I'm not crazy here. You just made Loof Trousers again, and like you did a competent job. Sorry, I'm just like I was annoyed because like I looked at you and Digi in the chat. Talking about this game, arguing about its merits, and I'm like, they're just discussing the merits of Loof Trousers. Like, this game doesn't really merit discussion of its own.
He immediately said it's like Loof. It is Loof Trousers.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he said it is Loof Trousers, but that it's like Loof Trousers.
But with that, okay, but you and Digi, without actually having played Loof Trousers, you can't appreciate the true depth of of just how much simply Loof Trousers it is.
Well, that just means he's one of a very exclusive group of people. There's only 3 people in this world who've made Loof Trousers, and it's the 2 people of Lambeer and him. So that puts him in a pretty special position. So,
I guess you got a point there.
So from that position, he can just rip off every game in the world and eventually do whatever he wants with his unlimited power. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. All right. You got anything else to say about Nemesis?
Oh yeah, I forgot that's what it was called.
It is. I mean, yeah.
Well, just kidding. Well, I don't know. I mean, the title's right up there.
Loof Trousers 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Loof Trousers 2 Return of Jafar.
Return of Jafar.
All right, I guess that's it. Yeah, that's it for the first episode of PCP Destructive Criticism.
Yeah.
We're gonna be we'll be back. Just anyone who's a PCP viewer, make something, and then maybe we'll criticism.
Make something a little good. Don't be a piece of shit. I mean, this is good. This is fine. This is the level. This is a good baseline to shoot for, to like share your work with us and have us give a fuck about it.
Yeah, indeed.
So good luck, everybody.
All right, see ya.